She's a goddess and she's a queen. She makes your home an aura of esteem. Her achievements are rare and not just a dream. Watch her grow in every quarter as a mother, wife or daughter. Tomorrow is hers despite problems umpteen. Her strength is real and not just a dream. They are a woman. Better halves, better halves, the better halves.
Women, propagated as the better halves, have for centuries been exploited and discriminated against. Today, while some of our women are sharing the limelight in the center stage of the world, thousands of others are still struggling to make that transition from being a non-entity to being a person. In our programs, we will focus on the changing roles, images, status, and challenges facing the Indian women today. In our first section, we will go behind the persona of the Indian women who are often seen as stoic, sacrificing, and self-effacing to her struggle for autonomy and self-determination. In the next section, Seeking Solutions, we will offer some useful tips and practical hints so that women can take charge of their lives and improve their general health and psychological well-being. In the third section, Personality, we will take a peek into the life of a woman of substance, an achiever, and a role model for others. But first, we will focus on the problems facing the Indian women today.
The issues facing women today are changing roles, changed status, image and position in the society. In the recent years, women's position has undergone a sea change. Initially, looking after home and hearth was considered to be their only responsibility. Fulfilling the needs and requirements of the family and children was a full-time occupation. However, with better education, awareness, and adequate job opportunities, more and more women have started to step out of their more conventional roles to take on newer challenges.
Our parents few years back were very conservative when we were to choose our groom for our people. We used to sort of try to search out for a girl which is a housewife, but now people look out for girls who are serving. And I work for a pharmaceutical company. Now we do prefer girls coming out and working for us as representatives. So things have changed, certainly changed.
I'm working for a pharmaceutical company, and I'm working in an area which was mainly dominated by the men earlier. Since last 5 years back, it was men who were dominating this field, but I think now the times have changed and women are really taking up this job very effectively because this is a very challenging job.
I have had colleagues, who've had to kind of manage home and work, and I really wondered how they do it. They expected to wake up first thing in the morning, manage the entire house, cook, clean, prepare the husbands and the in-laws and the kids for the day, leave for work themselves, do a complete, more than a full day's work.
The married working woman has got a problem with their husbands. Like, husband will like to have a paycheck collected, but he's not psychologically prepared to accept her working conditions in that way. He's not caring. He is just bothered for his own interest and his own recreation, and the domestic help also he doesn't want to share, which a working woman in addition to the working problem which she has, her own problem at work, is not able to cope up usually.
Actually depended on the family one comes from. During my time, from my family side, there were a lot of support, and since they are all educated, I had no problem. Complete confidence they had in me. Soon after marriage, as soon as the baby was born, I could take up the job without any problem.
काम तो जरूर करना चाहिए. काम करने से अपना दिल का
I
तसल्ली
think
रहता
one
है,
should
घर
definitely
से सब
work.
कुछ की फिक्र दूर
It
रहता है.
improves your quality of
अपना
life,
जो मन
and
करे
you
अपना
are
पसंद
able to
से
do so many
करो,
things.
अपना मर्जी से
It
रहो.
gives a lot of
जरूर रहता
self-sufficiency
है, औरतों के
and a
घर में
feeling
बैठने से
of
क्या फायदा है, आजकल के
self-reliance,
जमाने तो बहुत है.
whether it
महंगाई
be
भी है.
inside the house or
तो
outside.
काम तो करना ही चाहिए.
I
औरत
think
चाहे
the
घर में
woman
करे या बाहर
should
करे,
work.
करना तो पड़ता ही है.
Work helps a lot. It leads to awakening and broad-mindedness, and you get familiar with the environments outside your home, gives you a lot more of confidence, and you feel brighter, chirpier, on the whole much happy with life.
Yeah, of course, everybody should work. Everybody should have an equal opportunity for education, for health, for work, for a career, independence of money, status, sure. So it's, in many cases, women saying things like, should women work? I mean, why do you ask this question? Of course women should work. Everybody should be working.
After my marriage, in fact, I earlier felt that this job was a little difficult. I'll be leaving this, but I really could make it. And I should say that the joint family of mine is really helping me a lot. My husband has been very cooperative with me. He has been a source of inspiration to me and has always taken me ahead for whatever I do.
We should be considerate, and we should have an attitude, cooperative attitude. The husband should cooperate, the housefolk should cooperate, so that the things run smoothly, because poor lady has to take care of house and the children and the job. So some synergy and some cooperation with the people in her home is very much needed.
She is working for the family, and if you have a more happy working woman, by and large the society will have a more healthier and better attitude towards women, and we will be able to have a working capacity more than what we are having now.
For centuries, getting educated was considered to be a male prerogative. Girls were supposed to stay at home and become proficient in the household chores. And this discrimination was not only evident in the later years, but was noticeable right from the childhood. The birth of a girl child is still perceived as an unwelcome event in many communities across the country. And there begins the saga of endless discrimination against her. Denied proper attention, loving care, adequate nutrition, basic education, and subjected to merciless exploitation of all kinds, within and outside her home.
I think discrimination against women exists not only in India but everywhere in the world. And it's, I think, up to the women to slowly change the attitudes. It's more a matter of the attitudes, the traditional way of thinking, the thinking that has been going on in the minds of the families, in the minds of the society, in the minds of the men, in the minds of the women themselves, in fact.
For some reason, women have been suppressed. They have not had the equal opportunities of expressing themselves. And one reason for this is lack of education. It has been a concept which is generally seen particularly in urban and more so in rural India, where the male child is looked forward to and will be given all the opportunities to make his life comfortable because he is thought to be a breadwinner, whereas the female child is always thought to be the dependent one.
There are still certain families where because of certain economic considerations, they might be wanting a boy. But among the educated lot, there's no more discrimination between a boy and a girl, and which it should not be also.
If one looks at the urban and the village and the rural milieu, one could only contrast, one could never compare. In your attempt to compare, you end up by contrasting, because I think girl children in the urban setting are at a great advantage than their rural counterparts. They seem to have frozen in some time capsule. They're still fetching water, walking 4 miles. They are denied their education, and they're still very retrogressive in the rural areas. So there is this change.
Nowadays we see, as the parents are getting more enlightened, as they are getting more educated, they are giving the preferences to the girls equally as to the boys. But in rural India, somehow, since education has not caught up, there is a lot of ignorance. And still, it's the male child who will always be the preferred one.
Discrimination within the family also exists. That again is a matter of traditions, that's a matter of pattern of thinking which has been going on for maybe last thousands of years. That should be changed, and that is changing, and I'm sure women are strong enough to change it in future also.
There's a whole new generation of parents who've received formal education, and they are professional parents, and given their exposure to the cosmopolitanism of urban life, given their sensitivities, and given their own memories, particularly the mothers, of what they went through. So I think they're very eager to give their girl children all that they never received from the previous generation.
I do not think that there is any discrimination against the women, and one reason why the situation has changed is because of the higher education. More women are getting better education, and this has increased the awareness of their rights and also increased their assertiveness to have equal rights with the men.
The family has been traditionally considered a retreat, a place where individuals are able to find security and shelter. The family is considered to be a private heaven where peace and harmony prevail. Recent research, however, points to the fact that the family may be a cradle of violence, and that females within the home are often subjected to violence. Apart from violence, both physical and sexual, in the society at large.
There is a lot of violence, but all violence is not necessarily crime. And as regards crime, as per the laws as they stand today, I like to divide the laws, the forms of crimes into 2 broad categories. One is a sexual crime, and the other is a marital crime. As far as sexual crimes go, then you have eve teasing, you have rapes, and you have molestation cases. And in marital crimes, what I call it, you have domestic violence, like beating up of a woman. Then you have harassing of for dowry, or not returning her dowry after throwing her out. Or you have, of course, dowry deaths.
My in-laws were demanding dowry. They wanted to throw me out of the house. They would tie me up and beat me mercilessly with a hunter. It is still so painful. Every time I run the comb through my hair. My husband has beaten me earlier also. I don't mind it, as he is my husband.
When we did an analysis a few years ago, we found most of the harassment cases, the domestic violence cases, was most of it was because of dowry. Then you had second most was, of course, alcohol, and then you also have things like extramarital affairs, because the man is having an extramarital affair, he bashes up his wife at home. But dowry and alcohol are 2 major reasons, basically.
In this patriarchal environment, because the woman is helpless and she has no other go, as to how to take care of herself and her family, she succumbs again and again, compromises, suffers the indignities, the injury, the pain inflicted on her, and quietly she does not talk about it. And there is no law to protect her.
In Delhi Police, we have started this new thing called helpline, where it's like a control room number where you can sort of call in and you get, the control room van responds to you.
Domestic violence prevention or prohibition is very, very important. So we made a bill and sent it to the government. We said, according to battering woman is not only a wife. There are various other women in the family who are also should be considered as coming under the battered class.
Women today are slowly but steadily venturing into the realm of self-awakening. However, any attempt at women's empowerment is incomplete until we all work in unison. Women themselves, men, and the society as a whole need to contribute in their own unique ways towards this goal of equality. In our next section, let's try and seek some possible solutions to the problems of women.
Women themselves will have to play an active role in bringing about change. They will have to use their drive and potential whenever there is a need and enjoy taking control of their lives. Men also have to play a vital role in creating a better home as well as professional life for women. Women's issues need necessary changes in the policies by the government. Several non-governmental organizations are already putting in their efforts in this field.
There's a variety of NGOs which exist who are engaged in providing succor to women in distress. Essentially, you have one category of NGOs who provide the initial or relief kind of support, which is immediate, which is short-term, which often provides the woman some sort of support to help her cope with the trauma and with her immediate distress.
These should be people that she should feel very comfortable in talking to and in expressing herself. I think the whole idea is that she should not live in isolation and continue to strive to be that perfect woman. I think somewhere she has to accept that she is part of a larger society, and larger society in a positive way.
I think NGOs are addressing not only the needs of women in distress, but also women who have other needs. For example, those women who come from weaker sections of society, who come from the backward sections of society, they have special needs. They may not be all of them traumatized, but they may have certain very basic and long-term needs, and there are the developmental NGOs who do work with women of these categories.
Women have come a long way over the last few years in their own personal development. But to say that society also perceives this perhaps is conflicting. Society may perceive it, but society has not itself changed in its own expectations. And that creates a big rift between the woman of today and the society, which may be people at work, which may be her own family.
There are always difficulties when one ventures into this field of social development and social work. There's resistance sometimes at the family level, where the male members may not like the idea of the woman doing some activity on her own, or there may be opposition from the community. They might feel that women belonging to a particular caste, should not be doing certain kinds of activities, should not be coming forward, or whatever.
Often we find certain problems like alcoholism, like teenage problems, like husband perhaps, abusing the wife, whether it is verbally or physically. They just tend to go under the carpet. I think she should not be inhibited. She should talk to her friends about it.
I think NGOs work in ways which try to address some of these problems. But what's interesting is that now particularly in the rural areas, women are themselves beginning to help each other.
In spite of the fact that a lot needs to be done, there is no reason for us to feel pessimistic, especially when we see so many women around us who have overcome hurdles to achieve what they wanted to.
Dr. Mohini Giri has many facets to her personality. She has served on numerous organizations and associations in various capacities. For her invaluable service to society, she has been bestowed upon with prestigious awards like the Rajiv Gandhi Excellence Award, the Jawaharlal Nehru Excellence Award, and the World Peace Award. She has been a social worker par excellence, lending a human touch to all, especially women in particular.
We have with us today somebody who speaks 9 different languages, comes from an illustrious family of this country, has taken the cause of women all over the globe, has been the recipient of numerous national and international awards, and is now the chairperson of the National Commission for Women. We have with us today Dr. Mohini Giri. Dr. Mohini Giri, you come from a very illustrious family of this country.
The whole country is illustrious, according to me.
I think that's your kindness, but you know, a lot of people in your position would either have been overwhelmed or would have taken the cause further. How did belonging to this particular family shape you as a person?
You would call it perhaps an illustrious family. I think it was a very humble family with great values. My father-in-law, who had a great respect for women, my father, who was an educationist and a professor, he also put a great value on women's education. I think education has a lot to do with what kind of work you want to do.
How did your work as a social activist start, and how did you start developing an interest in the issues of women?
I must have been 11 years old when I lost my father. And one day when I came back from school, I saw my mother standing helplessly on a stool and trying to fix up a fused bulb. And it struck me how weak a woman could be, how vulnerable could she be. And she was here wondering whether the stool will fall down or whether the bulb will give her a shock and things of that kind. And that really moved me into thinking that how women need help. They must not only know how to change bulbs, they should become engineers, and they should be people who are really motivated to do things apart, because she is the creator of all beings, a woman, and so she must learn all those things also. And this gave me additional force, and from that age onwards I thought that whatever I do, I'll work for the cause of women.
Women are the largest workforce, and now they are also the owner of a big pay packet for the families. How has this shaped the concept of women in the minds of the men?
Well, economic independence to women has not brought her really social independence, even today. And this doesn't happen in India. I was in America recently. There also women said that I'm an earning woman. I want to buy a blue Mercedes car, but my husband says, no, you must buy white. Imagine the control of a man. Yeah. So, economic independence itself does not really bring total social independence to a woman. It has got something to do with attitudes, something to do with traditions, something to do with how she has been brought up and what is our cultural heritage. Till such time that we make a dent without spoiling the balance of what we have been, till such time we do that, I don't think we'll be able to achieve much in this direction.
What are the normal types of problems that you see in your day-to-day work as in the National Commission for Women?
Women have, unfortunately, have thousands of problems. Problems because of bigamy, bigamous marriages, problems because women are raped, problems because of dowry, problems like in Madhya Pradesh and in Bihar nowadays we are having gang rapes, problems because of insecurity and lack of financial power among women, problems because of illiteracy, problems because men do not look at them in a friendly way and look at them in an inferior way.
But when you try and bring about changes,
yes,
what are the problems faced? Is there some kind of an opposition?
Sure. You must have heard about the Sathin Bhavri Devi.
Yeah.
Now, Sathins were an agents of change in society. Fortunately, in India, the grassroots movement is very strong. Whether it be the Sathins, whether it be the women in Chipko movement, whether it be the women who are in the anti-Arak movement, whether it be the women who are in the Uttarakhand region, all these women, the grassroots women, are very strong today. So one Sathin woman, she wanted to advocate in Rajasthan that child marriage is bad. And when she advocated this, there was a gang rape on her. That was a repercussion. So women who are now agents of change are in a very worse situation because they are now targets of violence from women. And this is the kind of a trend that is coming up, but women are not deterred.
In what way are you able to balance your personal life with the professional one?
No, well, one is fond of music, one is fond of theatre, one is fond of religious discourses, one is fond of listening to Bhagavad Gita. And when you listen to all these, I won't call them stories because they're not stories, they're real human life, people's tales, huh?
Yeah.
When you listen to all this and you go back to your gardening and you go back to your music and you go back to your religious discourses, you feel that there is more to life than all these things. There's really a deeper meaning to the whole thing. And then you make yourself adjusted with the environment that you are in.
How has your family been supportive of your work? What kind of contribution have they made? Who all are there?
There is no woman who can really do any kind of work without family support, because family is her basic unit from where she belongs to. And because of the wide support that I got from my husband, from my in-laws and from my children, that I have been able to do a little work in this field to my satisfaction. And I'm happy that they not only support, but they also come up with new ideas and new thoughts so that my vision increases every day.
What is the message to the women in general and to the women who have to reach to the 21st century?
The message, my sisters, is that 21st century belongs to you. The struggle, no doubt, is very, very hard. But women, like tea, they show their true colors when they are dipped into hot water. And I'm confident, the sisters of my country, the time has come now to jump into that hot water and show your true colors. We will be successful, there is no doubt. 21st century will belong to us, there is no doubt. True empowerment is self-confidence, and that is what women in India are.
We need to reassert the equality and complementary roles of men and women in the society, provide gender-delinked education, give equal opportunities for work, and have less hypocritical value systems. This would ensure greater sensitivity to the needs and problems of women, which will go a long way in bolstering up a new climate for the women to come into their own as a person, an individual